Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Jordan here. Today we're going to be working on MILS plating the two Lego roller coasters. We've got the new 2022 Loop coaster, which is just a beast and a lot of fun, and we have the 2018 roller coaster right here. These things, in my opinion, are in desperate need of being MILS plated because they're very hard to move around. Like picking them up, it's a bit sketchy. It's hard to get under them. I mean, there's only one layer of plate underneath this thing, so there's not a whole lot of support. And I find when you move them around, things sort of become loose and then they don't operate at 100% efficiency and it becomes a problem. Now, we recently started MILS plating the amusement park, and we started with the carousel and the Ferris wheel, and I was so pleased with the outcome of that. MILS plating them really did improve the overall stability of the ride and just the ease of moving it around. And it's also easier to lock in place in the amusement park and slide it around or shift it into a new position. So definitely these rides benefit from being MILS plated. And I cannot wait to MILS plate these ones because these two, in my opinion, are the ones that need it the most. So let's get started with the roller coaster from 2018. Based on my calculations, in order to MILS plate this monstrous set, we're going to need two of the large 48 by 48 gray base plates. Because when looking at the base of the roller coaster, we can see that it's 96 studs wide. However, there's a little bit of an overhang just right there. And then conveniently enough, it's 48 studs deep, so that's perfect. I mean, technically, if you really wanted to, you could just take this roller coaster and literally just adapt it to these base plates right here. Because the 16 by 16 plates that the roller coaster is built on can actually adapt to base plates, unlike regular base plates, right? You can't attach base plates to one another, but this is on the actual 16 by 16 adaptable plates. But we're not gonna do that. We're gonna make sure that this thing has a rock solid base by using 2x2 bricks. So I'm gonna bust out my handy dandy drawer of 2x2 bricks here and dump them all out. Do I need to dump them out? No, I probably don't. Let's skip that step actually. Looks like we got a solid foundation here for our roller coaster. I was just using a 16 by 16 plate to make sure we get the spacing right, because once again, this is what the roller coaster is built on. So just making sure there's some bricks in the middle of that there and making sure it's evenly spaced so that there's an open stud for the connecting plate, just like that there. So now that we've got this made, we should be able to place the roller coaster on this and just push it down in spot, I hope. So let's just bring this thing over here very carefully. So one thing I'm going to do when we place this down on the bricks, before we actually start pushing it down, is make sure that all the seams have a brick between them. You know what I mean? Just to make sure that everything is positioned right based on the seams of the plate, so that one of those 2x2 bricks is in between the seam, locking those seams together, just to increase the amount of stability that we have on this coaster here. So I can already see that some of our rows of bricks here just need to move over a stud or two so that they lock those plates together. I guess in hindsight, what I should have done is place the coaster, put the plates in front of it like we had, and got my brick alignment done, and then continue to do the rest. But I'm just gonna fix that here just because it looks like there's a few that need to move over a stud or two. Now, another thing that I could have done if I wasn't trying to conserve bricks is I could have just decreased my amount of spacing between the 2x2 bricks. So rather than having spaces of 4 studs and 3 studs, I could have just reduced it to 2 studs all the way along. So you'd actually start it with 1 stud, and then you'd go to 2 studs and follow it all the way across. And that's how you build MILS plates when you're using 4x4 plate. But since the roller coaster's on larger plates, I'm not really too concerned about having that much support under it. This is more than enough, and I think now that we have our seams aligned, it should work pretty nicely. So now that I have this thing locked onto its new MILS plate, I'm going to use some additional green plates to fill in that awkward hole in the middle of the roller coaster. Boom! And just like that, we've got the 2018 roller coaster MILS plated. Obviously, we're going to have to do something here in the amusement park. This is just going to leak over onto an additional base plate. But I think rather than adapting that to studs, what I'll do is I'll just put some jumpers there. So that will just sit on some jumpers on an additional plate in the amusement park. But there you go. Let's try and pick this thing up and see how it is compared to before. I think this is the thing that I'm most excited about. Yes! You would not be doing that with the old roller coaster. I can work out with this thing, or like with the old layout, pre-MILS, right? That's awesome. So we got this one MILS plated, super excited about it. Next, we're gonna move on to the 2022 Loop Coaster. Okay, so for this large lad here, we're gonna have to use 32 by 32 base plates. I'm gonna use green ones because that's what I have, but it's actually pretty convenient because it's 32 studs wide. So that's perfect. And then its width is not quite 96 studs. So we're gonna be able to use these ones here, and it's actually going to accommodate this, sorry, I got no table room here, but accommodate this large loop that comes out because the base plate's gonna come to about there. So what we're gonna do is I'm going to build the same style of base plate, but this time I'm gonna do what I said before, and I'm gonna build these as if we're building MILS plates using 4x4 plate, because I think that's gonna provide this one a little bit more stability. Also, it has a different base. It's not built using the large 16 by 16 plates. It actually has an underlying plate and then a top layer of green plates. So you can see that right there. There's some gray plates underneath these green plates. Now, unfortunately, these are curved. So I should probably change those out to rectangular plates, but that would involve sort of prying these underlying plates off and changing it. So that's what I decided to do. I've changed this one out so far, and I've come to the realization that the evenly spaced 2x2 bricks isn't gonna work. What I'm gonna have to do is place the 2x2 bricks on the actual plate between the seams, very similar to how I did the carousel the other day, and get this thing on its 2x2 bricks, and then lay out those base plates and place it onto the base plate. You know what, everybody? Ignore what I was just saying there because I'm changing the strategy again. That was not going that well, and I was not sure about the stability of it. So what I'm gonna do is actually just create some standard MILS plate here, and then I'm going to top that with plates, and then we're gonna adapt this thing right to the plates. I think it's gonna be optimal for this roller coaster. It's just gonna be a lot better. So once again, just building the standard plate that I would use for 4x4 plates. So I ended up hitting Control Z on replacing the curved plates. So those are back in play now. Just wanted it to be in its original state. Just feel a little bit better about that. And now I'm essentially just going to lock this entire thing down onto this massive MILS plate. So I just got to go around and push all of these plates down so that they connect with one another. Sorry, I got the sun coming in and it's right on the camera there. Not sure if it's affecting the video quality. Probably is. Got to get a new window covering for up there. But ultimately, that's not exactly how I wanted to MILS plate this one. I sort of feel like a Cheater McCheaterton, you know, like I wanted to put the 2x2 brick on the base plates and have the roller coaster actually sit on the 2x2 brick rather than having it sit, you know, plate on plate. I sort of feel like that's a cheat, but it still works, you know, like this is a lot better to carry now. You know, it's still top heavy, there's no question about it, but it's a lot better. It's not as stable as the other one, but that's just because, I mean, this thing is so top heavy. But it's definitely a lot easier to move around now. There's more to grab, and that's what I really enjoy about it. So that's good. Actually, really quickly, before we do that, I just want to share my excitement here. You guys know I've had problems with this roller coaster forever. And look at it now on the MILS plate. It is having no problems. So the MILS plate is even making it more stable. and it seems to be working really well. So I'm excited about that. Like, normally it would not be doing this for me. Oh, now it's happening. Yeah, there we go. Normally it just wouldn't be doing this for me, so I'm pretty excited about that. However, this one here, I think there's something going on with the tower. I think the tower's at a slight angle. It wasn't working prior to this video, but even now, the chain's getting caught and it's not working. I don't know if it's the chain being a bit loose or just my tower has shifted. I fiddled with it for about 15 minutes and I can't get it going for some reason. It gets stuck right about there and makes a really ugly sound because the chain is slipping on the gear. It's not because of the MILS plate, because it was doing that at the beginning of this video before I MILS plated it. So something's just sort of shifted out of alignment here with my large upright tower. And I've just got to fiddle with that a little bit here. See, something like up here, there's just something that's not aligning correctly. I'll have to look at my instructions and just make sure it's all hunky-dory on its base plate, but it's all pushed down now and looking pretty good. I don't even know where these things are going to go in the amusement park. It's pretty easy to tell that it's an absolute disaster, but hey, we got the roller coaster from 2018 MILS plated, the carousel, the Ferris wheel, the loop coaster, all MILS plated. We've got a bunch of MILS plates in here ready to go. I've just got to MILS plate the haunted house, figure out what we're going to do with that Disney Castle platform, fix up that loop coaster, the mixer platform and stuff like that. I want to make that way better than it is. It sort of looks like garbage. So we'll fix that up. And then like once I get all the rides MILS plated, then they're going to be easy to move around and figure out what we're going to do for the layout, right? Because this could be all different. The only thing I'm really scared about MILS plating is the rebrickable model known as the Haunted Manor. That's a bit scary. But I'm sure we'll get her done one day. But I'm happy that we were able to MILS plate the roller coasters. Let us know what you think by commenting below. Thank you so much for popping on by. Remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned. Farewell.